All right, we begin with the 7 a.m. hour of Fox and Friends with the war in Israel. The IDF now says it's taken out 3 Hamas commanders in overnight strikes. Excellent.
This as Israeli forces uncover footage showing bloody victims of Hamas's attack being hauled into the Al-Sharif hospital, hours after troops allegedly discovered a Hamas tunnel under the complex.
Mark Regev is the senior advisor to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and joins us right now from Israel. Mark, good afternoon to you.
Good morning to you.
Let's start right there with the closed circuit footage showing bloodied victims bloody people being taken into the hospital. I know the IDF is saying those are hostages, and they're obviously, after they were treated, they were probably carted off someplace. How do you know they were hostages?
So, first of all, it's clear. They've been identified that they were people taken in the horrendous and horrific attack of October 7th. As you know, some 1,200 people were murdered on that day, and they took back some 240 hostages into Gaza, including children, 32 children, including babies and toddlers. Now, because we're slowly going through all the cameras that at the hospital, we found these pictures. I'm sure we'll find more, but we found documented evidence that those hostages were taken to the hospital by Hamas, not for medical treatment, but because that's where they were in prison, that's where they were held. There's also evidence of a young Israeli female soldier who was murdered there by Hamas after being taken hostage. And now this puts, I think, exposes clearly Hamas's lies. They've been saying for weeks that they've got no military installation there under the hospital. And more concerning is you've got international organizations who have been parroting this Hamas fiction that there's no Hamas military presence under the hospital. And, you know, we've not seen it. We've seen no proof. I think it's time the whole world now admitted Hamas has been brutalizing the people of Gaza. Hamas has deliberately used this hospital as a shield for its military machine. And all those in the international community, those in the UN and other organizations who've been saying for weeks there's no evidence, these are only Israeli claims, yes? It's now time that they admit it.
So, Mark,
that Hamas has committed a war crime.
How do you counter that? Because right now, and it is true, and you guys have laid out the evidence there, but from the international community standpoint, and I think it's important to note that they've never stood with Israel. The UN has never stood with Israel in modern day time. How do you counter that message? Because right now, it appears that you guys are losing.
So we're showing the proof. That's how we're countering the lies. We've got pictures of the hostages inside the hospital, not receiving medical treatment once again, but being just held there. We are sure that there are others, and we'll find pictures of that too, I believe. We've got pictures of the tunnels. We've got picture of this shaft going down underground, deep underground, and leading to the network of tunnels that Hamas has there.
Yeah, what you have is a spiral. Mark, you showed us video. Well, we have video of the metal spiral staircase going down, and then you see the concrete walls, and then you get to a steel wall. You guys believe it's booby-trapped. Do you have a plan to open up that door?
We have a plan to go into all the tunnels. We've got to take our time. We don't want to endanger our service people more than we have to. And so we'll be doing those pictures, as you know, were taken by a drone because we didn't want to send our own people down. We are scared, concerned about booby traps and so forth. So we want the truth out there, and we'll do our best to do that. At the same time, we want to safeguard our young fighting men and women, make sure that they're not unnecessarily put in harm's way. But we'll get there. Might take a day, might take 2 days, but we'll get there. And we'll hopefully have a situation where we can have actually international media, including Fox, down there in the tunnels taking your own pictures.
Mark, the Deputy U.S. National Security Advisor, John Feiner, is suggesting that there is a deal, that we are close to getting those hostages back home. Listen to what he said yesterday.
Mr. President, when will more hostages get out? When will more hostages get out?
I believe we are closer than we have been in quite some time, maybe closer than we have been since the beginning of this process to getting this deal done.
All right, so tell us more about this deal.
So if we are closer and I hope we are, but I'm not sure we are. But if we are closer, it's because of the military pressure on Hamas. We've been hitting their military machine hard. We've been taking out, as you've just reported, their senior commanders, and we are continuing to do so. Now, Israel has said, for the release of our hostages, we're willing for a ceasefire. And Hamas, as we hit them hard, needs that time out. It'll only be a temporary ceasefire, but they need that time out. And as a result, we believe the probability that they're will agree to a release of our people has gone up. Once again, it's not done until it's done. I can't tell you it's going to happen, but I think the probability of it happening has gone up. But ultimately, it depends on Hamas, and they are a brutal terrorist organization, and it's difficult sometimes to understand how they calculate the situation.
Do they have to release all the hostages, or I was reading one article, the women and the children?
Look, if they want us to give a ceasefire, a temporary ceasefire, they have to do something significant.
Sure.
We've had hostage releases before. We had the 2 American women, and then we had the 2 elderly Israeli women. And then there was the young soldier that our special forces actually rescued. But that's 5 people out of 240. It's a drop in the bucket. There has to be a significant release of hostages. That's what we're after. We want them all released. We want a significant release up front.
Indeed. And, okay, so you get those 200 and some hostages taken on October the 7th. But now you've got, in the Red Sea, there was an Israeli-linked cargo ship, and then you've got these Houthi rebels who are part of, essentially Iranian proxies. They grabbed 25 more hostages. Where are they going to go?
Well, they're in Yemen somewhere, I presume. But let's be clear here. This is just another manifestation of what we call Iran's axis of terror, because the center is in Iran, and then there are tentacles to this octopus. Hamas is one in Gaza, Hezbollah is another in Lebanon, and of course the Houthis in Yemen. And if these people break international law, yes, and they act as pirates on the high seas, yes, and take over a legally bound voyage, that is just a sign of who we're up against. These people have no qualms about attacking peaceful shipping on the high seas. They've got no qualms about using hospitals as military installations. They've no qualms about shooting their rockets into civilian areas, trying to kill as many innocent civilians as they can. This is our enemy.
So, Mark, do you need more from the U.S.? And I get it. It's hard to criticize the United States because you guys need more support from us. You don't want to cloud the relationship. But when you guys are being attacked from all fronts here, and Iran is an enemy to America as well. So do you need our guys' ass support as well on the ground?
I want to tell you that the administration, President Biden, the Congress, both houses, both parties, and the American people have shown amazing support for Israel during this crisis. Right. You are our best friend. We have no better friend on this planet, and we appreciate and we want to say thank you for that support. America has been there for us, whether it's in the moral support, in the strong words coming out of the administration and the Congress, whether it's the tangible support in helping us, giving us the arms we need. Ultimately, we're not asking for anyone's boots on the ground in Gaza except our own. But to quote Churchill, you are giving us the tools to finish the job, and that is greatly, greatly appreciated.
And the Houthi rebels are a huge problem. They keep sending rockets over. The Saudis know it. The Saudis were ignored. This administration has taken the Houthi rebels off the terror list. That's a huge mistake. And now they're starting to hijack ships that are coming through because some billionaire Israeli might own this one ship, but the Japanese run it. So the Houthi rebels have to be addressed by somebody. That could be us.
Mark,
that should be us.
Mark, thank you very much for joining us today. Good luck.
Thanks, Mark.
My pleasure. Good morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon.